Okay, so without knowing what the next scenario is going to be, we're starting this video because we're going to have to travel. So we might as well go back to Gloomhaven. We don't have to do a road event to go to Gloomhaven, but we do get the opportunity for a city event, so I'll pull one. The ordering of these, it's not absolutely clarified here. Maybe things are supposed to be done in this kind of order. You create a new character before you complete, and then you buy and sell. But that's not, it's not really spelled out that they have to be done in any order. So maybe I would have wanted to buy things first. You are walking home late at night when you hear some suspicious sounds coming from a nearby garden. You move to investigate, and a shadowy figure bolts in the opposite direction carrying an armful of vegetables. Uh-oh. We can give chase, or we can grab some vegetables for ourselves. Geez, I don't know. I don't view either of these as particularly what I would do. I would probably say, yep, there's a thief. Given the two choices, I guess we give chase. I just don't see these guys as intervening, nor necessarily feeling particularly lawless. But we'll give chase. The figure overburdened with vegetables is no match for your speed. You quickly run him down and deliver him to the city guard. Thankfully, very little produce was damaged in the pursuit, and you're able to return it to the owner of the garden. We gain a reputation. Oh, the other one looks even better. We could start with a blast. Oh, pity. I see one of the dangers of this kind of game where, there's a lot of materials and you have to keep track of things, and why maybe destroying cards makes sense. Oh, that seems a little severe. I can't find where the events that I've played before already are. I figured I'd put them in a box. I got the one that I just drew there, but I don't know where the hell the others are. So I lost track of them. I looked in there. I've looked everywhere that they could reasonably be briefly. I'll have to do a more thorough investigation to find that. Meanwhile, I also have to pick out what I might want to buy. We get $1 off any items we buy, which is pretty cool. And I picked up my choices. I'll get to them in a moment, but I noticed something. The lowest you can get on a reputation modifier is -5. This is important because if you could get better than a -5, you could buy $10 items for less than you can sell them for. And then you could generate essentially infinite gold because there's no limit on your buying and selling in Gloomhaven. That would be a serious flaw in the game. I wouldn't say that it would be, you could house rule around something like that, but it's cool that you can't just make money that way. And let's see, so he bought the Cloak of Invisibility and a stamina potion. The cloak, hey, it seems to be working for him. If I get myself in a position, once in a scenario or whatever, where, oh shit, I'm going to get attacked, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get attacked, during my own turn I can do that. The other option was to get the armor. And then there was another possibility of increasing my combat capability by buying a bow. One thing that's not a good option, in my opinion, it seems like a great deal when you first look at it, is not the leather armor. That's pretty good. This hide armor gives you shield 1 twice. Hey, that's great. But I guess if you're carrying it at all, you lose. Oh no, you gain 2 -1 cards to your deck, and that doesn't seem like a good view. If I'm reading that right, I might be misreading the item card. Let me see. Because you certainly don't want that. And they got all these pages of item what's in the cards. Let's see. Here we got it. G Some add the number of cards, yeah, to your deck at the start of the scenario. The number of modifier cards is specified on the item, and I suspect those must be in the player deck, because otherwise I don't know where you'd get them from. Oh no, here they are. Here they are. Okay. Yeah, so you really kind of don't want that extra penalty in there, unless you're just a utility character who's not going to be doing damage. And I don't feel like he is. I don't think we're going to extend the party. I had some thoughts of trying to throw the Inox in. And the reason for that really is more to explore the size of the character set than anything else. And if I had felt particularly taxed, I would be doing that. Now the question, though, comes to what we want to go do. Deal with the Inoxes or deal with the undead. Now he has the bonus against the undead, and he's kind of iffy. Like, he's like, well, I too could get that ignore negative event scenario events, but maybe with one of us having it, it's good enough. I'm just assuming we're going to face curses there. Damn, I don't have a die kicking around. I think that's what I'm going to use. I think I'm going to just kind of randomly decide which adventure to go on. I have some worry that this is more powerful. It sounds scarier. What got us to the Inox? She has something else she wants us to look into. My gut is telling me I should go for that one. So we're going to go to the Inox Encampment, see what we get there, and we draw a road card, which I'm having trouble reading, of course. You have only just wandered off the main road in search of your destination when the ground begins to shift beneath your feet. What was once solid gives way, and you find yourself falling down into a dark pit. You land 20 feet down, cushioned by the soil that fell with you. Great. You stand up with alertness and try to look around trying to get your bearings. You have fallen into a man-made cavern with smooth stone walls and floors. This could be a trap or just some long-forgotten structure. Option A, use weights and ropes to climb out of the hole as quickly as possible, or B, explore the area. Well, certainly I have the right people for the weights and ropes, but I also kind of feel like I have the right people for exploring. Let's see what's going on, because, you know, this guy should be kind of earth-oriented, and this guy, if there's any traps, should be able to deal with them. Sounds good. So we went with option B. Lighting a torch, you see a number of passages leading out of the stone room. Unfazed, you head down one of them and begin exploring the network of chambers. In one, you find a pedestal, and sitting atop that, a small metal sphere. Ooh. You take the strange sphere and continue your search. The only other remarkable thing you find is an exit. Add City Event 71 to the deck, but start the scenario with 1 damage, which would have happened anyway. I guess we got the only good thing out of this. So we'll look for that event and shuffle it into the city deck. There is actually a sequence for setting up a scenario, and in this case, I guess what you're supposed to do is actually you read the intro first, maybe set up the room or whatever, I don't know. I didn't pay as much attention as I should. I took the damage I'm supposed to. But the important thing that I was looking for is, do you get these before or after you choose your cards? And it looks like you get them before you choose your cards, which is kind of useful, because I felt like some of my cards were determinant on, some of my choices on those were determinant on, you know, which selection I had. And I was also interested, do I need to, you know, do I know what I'm facing here to any extent? So this merchant wants to make an example of some caravan raiders. Seems reasonable enough. For the right amount of money, almost anything can be reasonable. You enter the Dagger Forest. Oh, it is actually called that. Excellent. And track down the encampment using Jekasara's crude map. Probably not far from that one. It is well hidden, but following the signs outlined on the parchment, you find a dense cluster of huts in a small clearing in the forest. All that's left is to head in and make the requested example. Great. Until door 1 is opened, 1 normal Inox guard spawns at A every odd round for 2 characters. or the beginning of every round for 3 or 4 characters. Okay, well, we have 3 or 4 characters. This is kind of a shame. If we had gone in with 4, we'd have less. Now, this guy ignores negative scenario effects. Is that a negative scenario effect? I don't think so. I think those only apply to specific characters. This is a scenario special rule, but I think the add 3 curse to each character's deck would not apply to him. Am I sure? No, but boy, the scenario would probably be much, much weaker if him being able to ignore special effects would suffice to negate everyone. But would it mean that he can be ignored as one of the characters for it? That doesn't seem like an unreasonable choice. I don't know. Setup, you may have to use, and maybe this is corrected in the errata, I'm not going to look it up, but some cleverness in setting these scenarios up. For example, they never tell you how many doors you need. So like, okay, there's obviously doors there, but they don't always tell you everything you need. They don't tell you all these coins that are supposed to be on the board. So you kind of have to look, and it's not terribly easy with my eyes under this lighting. I know it shows up pretty well in the camera, but there are going to be coins there that I haven't deployed yet. The other thing is, it's not at all clear what's here, but it doesn't look like a door. However, they talk about it as a door there. I'm trying to see if there's anything that looks kind of like that kind of door. I mean, this kind of does, but that's not a door. So I'm going to just put a normal door here to this cave because it refers to it as a door. And then this will be the spawn point that they're talking about. And I don't know much about Inoxes, and I'm not sure I should. If I had an Inox in the party, maybe I would. If I look at the Inox character, maybe I'll have some idea about what they have. But I got kind of the feeling they're just tough fighter types. That's what I remember from the cards. So I'm not assuming any kind of special abilities here. The other thing is, what it doesn't indicate is whether or not you need any of these overlays. So there's some weird terrain between these rooms that I had to throw a couple of overlays in to cover up because it's quite obvious that that's not present here. Maybe I've got the wrong side. I've got the side they tell me in the scenario, but I know that there are some errata of that nature in play. This seems to generate what I'm supposed to have, though. These are thorns, no idea what they do. I assume they're just obstacles. These are totems, again, no idea what they do. If the scenario doesn't tell me, I assume they're just obstacles. Same thing with the barrel and the crate. The treasure chest over there, well, that can be looted. The traps, they'll do normal trap damage, which at this level I think goes like 4 points each. Because I'm still at the bottom. And I gotta hunt down the monsters. We got an elite shaman, and then everybody else is regular at this point, with the guards up front and archers in the back. So there's gonna be, it's gonna be a little tricky. Yep, there doesn't seem to be anything beyond the intro to deal with this, so, but we know we've got a fair number of things here. And should I have set it up beforehand? And have I set it all up? No, I haven't set up the monsters in these rooms. The way the board is presented, yeah, I know there's more critters there, but I don't know precisely what they are, and that kind of helps. The design of this, take a look at one of these, I won't look at those. The design of one of these things, white, black, black, well, it's obvious there's something that could be there or might not. But then as you skim in more, you see, well, I'm in 3 players, so it's the black. So you won't necessarily know everything you're facing by just glancing at the image. You have to kind of pay some attention. So as long as I don't set everything up, I could be a little surprised by how tough these different rooms are going to be. I've got to do my card stuff, though. Thing for a battle always takes something out of me. Let me go over. She actually kept the same set of actions as otherwise. He got this. And got this, hey, aggressor, which we had last time, 2 check marks if there's always a monster on the map at the beginning of every round during the scenario. That seems a pretty likely one here with that auto spawn and everything. And it doesn't look like I have to open doors. Now let's see. Kill a number of enemies equal to 5 times the number of characters. That's 15. Wow, I hope there are 15 monsters on the board total. This is kind of a problem. You know, we don't actually have to go in there to cause more monsters. But right now there's only 7 monsters on the board. I don't know how many others there are, but we're going to have to open up doors for those monsters to appear. So this could be kind of a one where the game is a long-running scenario. That brings up something else I wanted to discuss. One of my buddies here was saying, you know, that whole a year or two to do this is probably a little obscene because, and in the sense of being incorrect, because I went through a whole shitload of SPQR scenarios, and these don't seem that much longer, but my pace of play has gone down, and in particular, if I play one of these out, I probably am not going to do another one the same day. So I think this may take me a very, very long time to get through the whole thing. Anyway, where were we? So we've got to actually be kind of careful with the numbers here because of the goal. We might not be able to make the goal if we go busting through that door real fast. This guy's got the capability, he took the capability to bust obstacles because there's so many obstacles on the map. They give him experience points. You know, I like grabbing XP. It seems pretty hard to get in the game. You don't just get it for mowing through the monsters. You get it for winning the scenarios, but that's not a whole hell of a lot at this stage. So optimizing those cards seems like a good idea. In addition, he doesn't want to loot anything during this scenario. You know, I mean, money is nice, but screw it, man. Check marks seem better. Not that anyone can give money. And his is to take only long rests during the scenario. That's probably going to be the hardest one to choose. The other option was fast healer, that I end the scenario at full hit points. He actually probably could manage that. But again, I'm worried about running out of cards more than anything else in a lot of ways for this. So, long rests. Long rests tend to be more efficient in a lot of ways. So, you know, they get to recharge my one piece of equipment. My others are one-shots for the scenario. But this one gets me to recovery without a long rest, which might be useful too. So yeah, I feel most comfortable taking that one. He's already got a check mark set filled out. I don't think either of these have any. So they're definitely more drawn to the 2 pointers. All right. Anyway, like I said, it fatigues me to set the game up. So now I want to go and relax for a while. And I still am not entirely set up. I still got to drag out those monster cards. If I'm cheating here, because there's a requirement, the merchant flees global incomplete. I don't have the merchant flees up here. But I don't know what it means that a requirement's incomplete. I don't know any of this. I'm going to have to look at this, see if I'm trying to cheat, because we may have to reverse and go to this other event here, or this other location here, which sucks because I spent all this effort setting this up. I'm a little confused because this says I get this location. So I think I should be able to get here. Maybe this is an errata issue where the merchant flees is put into this one as something that should be happening here, and it's just not written in here, or I'm not seeing it. I don't know. First thing I did, looked at my stickers. There's a merchant fleas sticker. Didn't look in the rule book because it's so fucking useless. It doesn't have a good index. It has indexes in based on, you know, these pictures here, but they're not going to help me with this. I didn't bother looking at scenario requirements, which would have been the next step in the rules. Instead, since I had to take a dump, I went and checked for errata. It's not in the errata, it's in the FAQ. If it says incomplete, it means you can't have completed this. Actually, I found somebody who answered the question as well, but he directed it to the FAQ, and I'm like, well, that's what I want to see here. When I look at the actual only rule that I've found, because, hey, you know, I was curious what's going on here, that's the requirements rule D. Any achievements required to play a scenario in the campaign? Well, that's not sufficient. You know, I do not have the merchant flees incomplete as a requirement. Therefore, I would think that I wouldn't do this. Luckily, you know, like I said, I understand that this game is not a complete and nailed down game. I'm a little surprised with the high rating that it has, given how many problems there are in terms of the amount of errata. You publish this much errata, you know, in an old war game, and it would get like below a 6 rating on BGG, right? I mean, Armada, which often gets picked on as the SPI, oh, this is one of their most horrible ones, which had a couple pages of errata for probably an 8-page rule book, right? That's pretty bad, but most of that errata was pretty easy to determine. Easier than this. And, you know, not only is there, I think, no rule that indicates that incomplete situation. Who knows? Maybe it's in here, but I don't think so. I don't see anything about incomplete in here, and I haven't seen it in the regular rules where I would expect it. But finding any particular location in this fucking rulebook is impossible. They, you know, they need to index it, especially since there's not a lot of cross-referencing of rules, and their indexing is by page instead of by case number, which is of course problematic as well. Yeah, anyway, we will continue on knowing what incomplete means here. It means you cannot have this requirement. Now, I don't know if the merchant can flee if you don't follow the merchant path, but I guess that's of some importance because you're allowed to replay scenarios. Anyway, I have gotten one character selected here. The pain of picking, not my deck, which I already knew, but that and all the other setup aspects, that is going to slow this down tremendously. The actual play, it's a little tedious at times. I would find it much easier not to have the card play, even though I'm kind of torn as to is the card play more interesting than like something that actually realistically depicted capabilities of the characters. But it certainly adds a burden for me. But does the thinking from that card play make up for it in terms of making it, you know, more interesting to just keep playing these scenarios, which are basically just beat up on some critters? Because there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of role-playing going on here. There's the decisions on those cards, but it's not, you know, it's not like the Dragonholt scenario thing where combat, because combat's so burdensome putting it through the book, there isn't a lot of combat using a choose your own adventure only system for combat. There isn't a lot of combat, and I actually favor not a lot of combat in my RPGs. Of course, the problem is that has very little replay value. This might have quite a bit of replay value. Of course, this one's designed with, hey, rip up your cards and put these permanent stickers, which I'm not using permanent, but whatever. The design is this legacy design to like destroy the game, you know, when this is probably as replayable as Dungeon Degenerates is. If you so desire after the full campaign. So we set up kind of as far back as we can because we've got a fair amount of ranged attacks. We're actually going kind of slow. I usually like to jump in real quick, but I don't know. I mean, that seems advantageous, but I've got things like, you know, the Mystic Ally coming out, stuff like that that I want to benefit. All right, and let's see what we have one of each here. Hey, what's that shaman like? We don't know much about him. He looks dangerous, but the guard, we still don't know what it means to avoid all, I better look that up. Ignore negative scenario effects. Let me look that up before I actually start, because I'm pretty sure there's nothing in here, but it may include that spawning. He may not count towards it, in which case we only get one every other turn, which would be a big help. It's really annoying. In Barrel Lair, it's under special rules, add cursed each attack modifier as a scenario effect. That's very specific there. Here, this does not say as a scenario effect, so I'm going to say it doesn't apply. But I couldn't find anything that was definitive, but nobody had this scenario listed as one of the ones that has a negative scenario effect. So I don't know, but basing it on, you know, the use of those words, and in some places they say as a dungeon effect apparently, which is supposed to be the same thing. That seems a little sketchy to me, but a lot of this game seems sketchy. It's okay. I don't think it's that big a deal if you go either way. Anyway, let's get our randomizers for these monsters and see what we're up to. So 29 is our fast one, and we got one character who gets to go before that. And he's doing some battle, and then we'll take a look at the other characters just so that I can plot out what I'm going to do. But I think I already know what I'm doing based on what I chose. Sometimes, though, looking at the other characters' stuff can help you. And also looking at what the monsters are going to do is definitely helpful. Okay, so things have not gone terribly well. We've got this guy pretty badly hurt, within one hit of death, but he drew a null. This was the easy kill for him. Didn't get the hit there. Did a little bit of spreading the damage around to other things, but everyone else was actually concentrating on that thing because it was poisoned. Hey, easy to kill. Yeah, that didn't even work. And we're gonna see another one of these Inoxes showing up back here. I don't remember which hex. Of course, we have to kill 15 of them, and I'm going to need some kind of way to track that that I don't have kicking around. I guess I could use the round marker. Right now I've killed it none. Once I get up to 12, then we'll reset it, because the rounds don't matter on this. In terms of what they've done, they did a bit of damage to the two lead characters, and in addition, and this is kind of weird, the shaman has a bless self. Well, that's going to throw a bless card into, and from what I can tell, the remainder of the monster deck. So it's not just himself. It could bless anyone there, because the monsters all share a single deck, and this has to reshuffle as well. In addition to spawning the new critter, that's going to be the end of the round. Now, the good thing about spawning critters is there's a limit to how many guards I can, or any particular critter guards I can have, though, in this case. And it's only a guard that comes out. So as long as we keep these guys alive, it's not so bad. But, you know, we kind of want to get rid of that front line and then start concentrating, try to take that shaman out, especially because he's dangerous with those blesses in there. I don't know how many he has, but that's scary. Probably painful amount of reshuffling in the game. Of course, I make it worse with my decision to reshuffle these whenever a reshuffle comes up instead of waiting until the end of the round or whatever. But I feel like in a game that's already pretty questionable in terms of, you know, hey, why can't I, you know, shoot my bow most turns? Why isn't there a reasonable pulsing? Why is it that I can shoot my bow 3 times real fast in a row maybe, and then can't shoot it until I take a break afterwards? But if I shoot it slowly, I still only have the same number of shots before I get tired. Hey, maybe it's that I only have 2 arrows in my belt and I have to go hunting in my backpack for the rest. I don't know. But it's a hard to justify situation. He's moved down, nobody used him. But yeah, these decks are tiny. These guys not so bad, but these decks are really small, so reshuffling them is kind of painful. I like shuffling a larger deck. I don't really like playing with a little deck. And I guess we move on to turn 2, or round 2, and see what comes up from that. And my facial recognition is saying, we want to pay attention to this guy's face. I don't know why. Saying something because, hey, I knew I was going to go to the end of the round or whatever and have to speak again. And then forgot about it, of course. Which is that, okay, so that road effect that did an injury to everyone, that is in play. He doesn't get to escape that. That was covered in the errata. I didn't even think that was possible. What I thought was possible was this spawn rate, that might be slowed down by him. That would significantly impact the scenario. But then again, so does a fistful of curses in your deck. If you're going, we opted to move quickly this time, especially him, where he's got his little buddy who can help the fight. And he's doing a big heal over on the Cragheart. That's an expensive card, but it gives him some XP. But the thing is, this is going to be, I think, a long scenario, and burning cards permanently might not be the greatest idea, but what can I do? I feel like I'm in a lot of trouble here. These guys, a couple of them are going pretty fast, but not fast enough to get the drop on me. Hart used a pretty potent attack to blast all the wounded things and get rid of them. Got himself an XP as well, which is awesome. But he used up his explosion card and some other stuff. So he's got kind of problems, but and I forgot. We gotta mark this down. We've killed 3. That's gonna be the problem. It's possible you could lose this scenario, I guess, and wipe everything out, which is kind of a risk to it all. Just counted everybody in all the rooms. There are 14 in all the rooms, which means in 3 players, it's very unlikely. In 4 players, there are probably more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 4 players, you're not going to have that problem. And probably in 2 players, you're not either. 3 players is the only place where it's possible, and it's going to be pretty damn hard to get there, open the door before that guy shows up. So yeah, actually, I think I can open that door whenever I like, pretty much. There are enough monsters in here. I don't like cheating to do a count like that, but honestly, the scenario victory conditions had me worried in terms of, are these just ridiculous? Like, I wipe everything out and I'm fine, and I lose anyway, and then I have to do it again. I would really hate that. Shaman's attack was kind of weird. He has this range 3, it's not a +3, he's got a 3 over here. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Normally that would replace, maybe not all shamans have a ranged attack to begin with, so. But he moved up and he would have killed the Cragheart, so the Cragheart burned a card to prevent the damage, which makes things like the invisibility cloak a little bit weaker than I think of them. But of course, killing a card is pretty shitty. But yeah, it explains why it's only 20 points. If I hadn't pulled a plus card, it wouldn't have finished him off, but yeah. And let's see, I think that gets us to the final player action. Big heal, he's not in as big a danger. Actually, it was even a bigger heal with a +2 on it. So it was a 7-point heal. Would have brought him over if that was possible. But then the archer plinked him as well. Got a couple reshuffles there. And you know, with these small decks, you end up with, I mean, I try to do a little bit of overhand shuffle, and that I never trust because I feel like I'm just cutting the deck sometimes, especially with small decks of cards. So then I did what I really hate, which is almost a deterministic shuffle, where you take one packet and the other and you kind of interleave them almost evenly. I used to hate that with Magic games when people would do that. They'd start dealing out the cards into two different decks, you know, or whatever, or they'd split it into two decks and then do a fully deterministic shuffle, or maybe they'd mix it up like a 1-2-3, 1-2-3 or something like that, or 1-2, 1-2, just in order, you know, to make sure that they're getting some interleaving. But man, you know, I do not trust, I don't trust the subconscious on a lot of things. And I sure as hell don't trust it when, you know, you could actually have devised, if you were paying close attention, something that would work. Now this guy couldn't move. The guards got no move action, so I guess nobody appears this time because there's no chance to do so. That's kind of a lucky break. A slower turn this time with the players 36-37. However, the monsters also aren't going very fast, so only the archer's going to be going early. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully he'll be catching most of the damage from them, and this will be left alone because that thing can be killed pretty easily, but it's moving fast enough that it's going to be able to do the thing I hope to do, which is pick off this guy, I think. So we were able to get a pretty good result out of all of this. I guess the biggest, he picked that off. That was cool. The biggest thing was everybody kind of targeted the shaman, and then the Cragheart fired off the dirt tornado. Now this was one of the few times I ever could have gotten the experience point off firing this, and I wasn't getting any experience off of the dirt tornado. I probably could have hurt that archer, but muddling things seemed like a good value, and it seemed very likely that I was going to kill the shaman. He was down to 1 hit point, so I kind of changed my decision there. I was kind of on the fence which way I wanted to go. One advantage to it is I didn't move. He picked up a coin. He did not. He had to get too close. And he actually fired off his invisibility cloak, which did nothing here, so that the shaman couldn't attack him. That was probably a mistake, but I didn't realize how low I had I was going to get the shaman. He did a good attack on it too, so after I did my attack. So things are beginning to look a lot better. There's going to be another monster showing up here. And I don't think there's any reshuffles out there. The rules, I don't think, say anything about this, but because the number on the monster can have some importance, I kind of throw a die in and randomized which one of the guys who's already got a stand, because putting new stands on the things is kind of annoying, but at least I got some randomization there. It's unlikely it has much effect, but it affects the order of movement, which can be important, especially if you've got someone behind who has to move first, then he has to kind of go around the other guy or whatever. So I wanted to make sure to pay attention to that. This guy's strengthened. I don't know if that's going to make any difference coming forward, but it gives him an advantage on his attack. These guys are muddled. They have disadvantages on their attack. Why isn't that weakened? I don't know. Still trying to go early, except for him. He has reasons not to, largely so that this thing might get a chance to attack. I'm not sure what the situation is. He's still invisible as well, which is another reason I should put that marker on him. Because he has not gotten another turn yet. Put the shaman aside, we might be getting him later. Here, the archers are going to be going fairly slow, but the guards get to move real fast. Now, they have no movement, which means they're kind of stuck there, and this is a reshuffle card. So we'll remember that. So they're not doing anything too exciting this round. And that means no more spawning either for this turn, because somebody's in the way. Which, now I get to figure out the player stuff. And I don't want to take a short rest. Too dangerous for the Spellweaver to do. Invisibility's gone now. Didn't do me any good. Helmet's not doing me any good yet. What is that? A 2 times becomes a 0. That's pretty cool. We managed to wipe out the archers using Craghart's ranged attacks, I think, again. And this guy jumped over and fired at this just to do some additional damage. Like I said, there's not going to be any growth, any new monster spawning this time, so we're on a pretty good roll. And here's what's kind of cool. Once we open this door and deal with whatever's here, then we've got a lot of control. We can go loot that thing, because we won't have killed enough monsters probably, and start opening doors and letting the monsters out in little amounts that we can take care of. So this one's going pretty easily for us, actually. A little bit of looting, not much going on. I would love to grab coins, but I'm not going to go out of my way for it. As far as I can see, money is mainly useful for buying items. The items, we're fairly loaded up. How much more do we really need? Yeah, I know, but, you know. So I don't feel like I'm making that a priority. I'm much more interested in, hey, what's in that treasure chest? Is it some new pattern that I can use? Because the items that are available, well, I've been buying the things I want, and I'll have more money and I'll be able to equip fully. But I don't have all kind of cool stuff. There's like one archery item which people are interested in. A bow that I don't know if it gives advantage or +1 damage or something. It's something good, you know. But that's the only hand object that I see. There's a maul, which would be useful, but he's mainly ranged attacks too, so he does have some physical, some melee attacks, but for the most part, everybody's kind of interested in the ranged attacks. I like ranged attacks, man. I always play sneaky character. In the computer, what I call first-person slashers, things based on like the Daggerfall idea, but also the shooters like Fallout or whatever. I'm often playing an archer with sneak type capabilities so that like I can not take damage, because there's just too many things. You don't want to take the bad effects of getting hit, you know. So if the enemy can't see you and you're shooting them, you're just pure bonus, right? Strangely, I don't play the assassin games, not for any moral reason, just, I don't know. They just don't appeal to me in quite the same way. I'm sure I would enjoy them, but they don't capture me enough to be willing to really even download them. I may have some that I bought, I don't know, through GOG, but in role-playing games, in real role-playing games, I play such a mixture of character types in terms of the weaponry and everything. That's usually less interesting to me, but I often go for more melee-oriented characters. But often fast strike, get out of there quick, you know, don't stand around and tank. And, well, I don't have anything. This is the closest I have to a tank in that it can take some damage. Anyway, what do we got going on? This thing is so slow. It's a shame. All right. I guess we're on to the next turn, but I think, like, I'm kind of delaying the decision on this because I don't really want to take another turn. My wife's supposed to come up and make some pasta, and she may be waiting for me to come down the stairs and hear me coming down before she makes that decision. But on the other hand, I'm having fun. Spellweaver, who has no cards and couldn't avoid damage and doesn't have a lot of hit points to begin with, attracted both the monsters here. This would have been the time for the invisibility cloak, but it's hard. But his helmet came into play. Hey! And he only took a total of 1 damage because the guards had this attack -1, and they're kind of weak. So that should be pretty effective on them. I went intentionally slow with the Tinker because he's kind of behind the Cragheart, and the Cragheart went faster because the Tinker said, hey, go faster for me. I'll try to go after you. And has a mixture of possibilities here. I was thinking about actually firing this thing off as a possibility, but I don't know. The reason to do that is I could get XP, but like a lot of XP. But I don't know. It sucks to give up cards. Screw me. I have not been counting my monsters. So I'm going to have to go through that. Good thing I didn't go back. So at the beginning, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have killed at least 7, and I think that's it. But I gotta be careful here because this is an important part of this scenario, is keeping that count. The fucking Tinker did his loot 2 card, grabbed up a bunch of gold, and got himself an XP for that. That leaves the Spellweaver in kind of an annoying position. His critter running around trying to find some place. He had an option of either direction to go. Trying to find some place where he can get an attack off. His range is so low that he's not really able to do too much. However, he's still alive, which is pretty impressive in and of itself. Cragheart's going to have to take a rest. Does he want a short or a long? I feel like we're doing pretty well. I think I can afford the long rest. Although I should have used my boots. If I was doing that, this needs to get reshuffled. I forgot to do that. As does the monster deck. We're pretty close to having killed both of these. I did a push for an XP there. But the Spellweaver is like, I'm okay taking that. He's got something else that allows him to ignore. Oh, no, he doesn't, does he? Yes, he does. Something else that allows him to ignore some damage. It's a permanent, destroyed card, but he can get back his cards. And it creates some mana, which we could definitely use here. This has to go away. It didn't get used. Tinker is down to his last set of cards. Spellweaver, trying to jump early, get out of the way of that guard if possible. Might be able to do it. Might be able to move and attack, but actually I have this immunity card that I think I'm going to be firing off instead. I can always get my cards back. Unless I used that one, which I did not. Cragheart can't move, and my little critter isn't going to be able to get in range of anything still. From my line of sight correctly, I can hit both of these, so I think that's what I'm going to do, because otherwise I'll just be getting an attack too. This does kill that card, but again, the Spellweaver has the capacity to get cards back. Unfortunately, it means that this attack will be at a disadvantage. I got lucky on the one attack. He was already wounded, but I also blasted my little attack potion or whatever, and so they weren't able to attack me either. But there's another one left. Oh, got a kill. That's a date. That's very important. If I forget that, I'm in trouble. These go down, and I gotta figure out what the Cragheart is going to destroy card-wise. The fingerless gloves make a lot more sense than their foot equivalent. Yeah. um, all right. So we managed to get the jump over here, which is big because now I'll get to shoot up and stuff. But actually, what's kind of weird, I'm gonna reveal, both of these guys set themselves up to do jump actions for various reasons. Now he may choose to do differently and recover his lost cards, or her lost cards. But I'm not so sure. I haven't sort of played it out as far as possible yet. We want to make sure the door's open, but she can't do that. He can. I used a combination of push and jump, the jump push card as well as this firing card. Actually, sorry, the jump damage card as well as this attack push card. He couldn't push the enemy here without damaging this. You know what? Screw it. I am damaging that. I push that into here instead, which destroys the obstacle and does another point of damage, which isn't enough to kill it, but that's okay. And generates me another experience point. But I do a point of damage over here to the Spellweaver. Terrible. Actually, I do 2 to the Spellweaver, which is kind of bad. And we're still at, well, we're up to 9 kills. We need 6 more critters. There's 2 on the board right now. If there's 4 in this room, we're good. I don't remember, but there's probably a fair number. Maybe not that many. So I think opening the door is becoming more and more an imperative here. I mean, they can go on forever if we leave that door closed. We can't. Everybody's charged up with some cards. Craghart's actually running low total on his deck. He's only got 1 discard. He's got some problems. I don't know what to do. I have the Tinker has his card that can give people back discards, but it can't give them back destroyed cards. I think he got rid of that one. I'm not sure. I was a little mistaken. Spellweaver has to do another long rest. Yeah, some kind of rest, but she didn't want to do the short one. Can't risk losing that card ever. And I like long rests better. Just it'll heal her, you know. Not in too much danger with him standing in the way. We'll see, except the guards are going to be moving late. So he can do something he wants to do. He does not want to get those things. So he's going to move here because he's revealing a move 4, which will be able to open the door. Oh, no, wait. He wanted to be here. Let's go here. We'll do a move 2 with the damage for that. And then we can charge up as we open the door. The thing about these cards is they generate lots of victory points after you use them. Just sort of, you know, well, it hasn't so far because nobody's meleeed him. The disadvantage, of course, is what I found back here is an archer and a shaman who probably aren't going to be too worried by those traps, and now I'm going to have to deal with those traps somehow. And those are, I believe, 4-point damage traps. So I don't really want to just walk over them, but I don't have a way to get rid of them. I can jump them. Maybe I can pull or push a critter across them. That's about it. I've got to shuffle up these, or prepare these decks, whatever. The archer deck needs to be shuffled. The shaman does not. And draw from them and see whether they jump in. Right now we're on 29. 47's the next one. As the shaman goes first, he's got a move +1 and then what looks like a normal attack, but he has range, so that I think applies no matter what. He doesn't need a range marker for that. So his base movement would be only 1, so he can go 2 forward because he's not elite. So he'll come charging forward. There are not enough monsters to win this scenario now. I have to open up one of these other doors, but that's fine. They should be doable. And that actually gives me time to loot the treasure chest, so I consider that actually advantageous. An attack at -1. Well, that gives him a base attack of 0 against the Inox. I'm sorry, the Cragheart. And that doesn't do any damage. However, he has two targets. His range was 3. 1, 2, 3. He can't hit anything else that he wants to, but he does curse this thing. And I believe that gets shuffled just into that deck, not into this part. 2X card coming up. That's 8 points of damage. That's not going to knock him out, but I don't have any healing right on deck. I think I'm going to burn a card and thereby take a long rest in order not to take all that damage. I don't have anything that just prevents the damage. I have this retaliate, but that's only on melee, and so far nobody's been able to touch me. This guy will probably get a chance. At the end of the turn, he's doing a long rest. We haven't done his shot yet, which he'll move there to take that. I haven't done it yet. This thing's only got 1 hit point left. He's strengthening, but the Tinker managed to blow one away. But let's just do this quickly. That critter has a 3 attack. That's only 1. Luckily, the guard. That is not an elite guard. The guard has only 1 hit point left. So we got very, very lucky in being able to shoot that one out. And I think I have not given these. So we need 3 more kills. 2 of them are on the board. 1 of them somewhere else. Somebody's going to have to loot that treasure chest. Hey, finally we'll get one. We've gone through, like, you know, the first 2 scenarios without being able to get a treasure chest out of the way. Our Tinker is going early. Spellweaver is going late, mainly because Tinker has got to get out of the way for this thing to get anywhere close. Maybe it'll get a shot off. Tinker said, I'm going to pull something. Well, if he's pulling these, any of them, which is what he's actually planning on doing, that should work pretty well to go late. On the other hand, hey, we're out of guards. Awesome. Clear some space. Let's see what we got here. The shaman is very fast. And the archers are pretty fast too. So they're all going before the Tinker. Cragheart is doing a long recovery. She'll be getting her cards back. So, the Tinker was able to pull things here, killed the shaman with the 4-point trap. There's a 3-point trap the archer laid down here. They shot up Cragheart pretty bad. He's down to a 3, but I forgot to heal him. The Tinker got his card back. He got to heal 1, 2, 3. He healed him 3. I gave him the experience points for his actions, just the 1. He's up to 11. We're actually racking up a lot of XPs here, which I think are more important than the money. I mean, from a standard kind of view, hey, items are less valuable than inherent skills, right? If you read the Covenant series, the Blood Guard, you know, because you can lose items or something. But in this game, it doesn't seem like you really can. But items have a more limited usage. And getting these up, that allows you to have an extra perk each time you go up a level. You get more hit points. You get all kind of good stuff out of going up levels. The money from items, well, it's nice. There's no question. Anyway, this thing finished off the archer, which was an elite archer. Nobody cares about elites this game. The only problem is Cragheart's the closest to the treasure chest, and he really doesn't want to go in for it. So what we may see is he's going to be recovering his hand. He may just, or she may just move and open up the door. If she doesn't do that, she's going to lose her aggressor advantage. So she wants to get those 2 check marks, which doesn't give a lot of other options. We have revealed a shaman and an archer who now get their turns. The shaman move -1, attack 0 with an immobilize. It's just a normal shaman, move -1. It has a move of 0 then. Its attack, however, is ranged. Not in range. It's not going to get to do anything. The archer, on the other hand, doesn't need to move. So it has an attack of 2 on her. And that would normally do 2. Well, I guess I used one of these. I didn't remember doing so, but that gives another XP there. The question is, before I do this, do I want to discard my ally and have that extra card in my hand, which could give me 2 more XP? Given that my ally is pretty far away from being able to do anything, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to dismiss it because I'm going to be able to regain all of those cards at this moment. And you're allowed to dismiss your cards that are in effect. I don't know if it's at any time, but certainly during your own turn. And I'm actually not sure if those attacks happened before. Those attacks should have happened after her turn. So let me fish out the damage card. That'll still be destroyed. The damage, I mean damage reduction card. This one here. I'm not going to get that one back because that happened during her turn before these things got to act. And she got her cards back. But that puts us in a pretty good shape. The one thing I got to make sure of is that I loot the chest before I kill both of these monsters, because we're not going to see another monster unless somebody opens a door for some reason. We've got enough that if we wipe out the rest of the monsters, we've won the battle. In fact, we only have to kill one of the monsters and the battle's over, which is even more dangerous, right? Kill a number of enemies equal to 5 times the number of characters. So the last enemy, I don't know what happens to it. It surrenders or something, and we're not allowed to continue the scenario beyond that round. I thought I was in trouble because Craghart would still be immobilized, but he's not. He got his recovery, his rest action. That got rid of the immobilized because it still counts as his turn. So he got to get rid of it there. So he has 2 remaining cards before he passes out. I was told, hey, go late. I'm going to try, but, you know, I'm not real fast. We got a draw for these 2. Shaman 23, that's probably not too good. Archer 16. 26, I'm going to get shot up before anybody gets a chance to do anything to heal me. We may get wiped out in this one. We may fail in this adventure simply because trying to go for that chest and kill these monsters, and we're down near the bottom of the barrel at this point. So let's see. The archer is in place. Attack -1. That gives him attack of 1. Yep. Let's not peek at that. Does no damage. Okay. 23. Still less. So shaman, move 0 or move +0. Well, it's going to keep moving closer. It has no attack, but it has a heal 3 range. What I think that means is it could heal either of these. But what we're going to do is we just move forward and we don't attack. So we get a freebie. And what's cool about that is she is summoning her ally again, which may not be enough, but at least gives me a little bit more combat capability. I was hoping to happen, which was somebody step out so that maybe the Tinkerer could shoot it didn't happen. And now I've got to decide, can I afford to go after that treasure? I don't have a whole lot left on the Tinker. Cragheart is essentially done, unless there's something magical I could do, which it's probably too late anyway. Recover discarded cards. I want to go for the treasure, though, especially since it gives me an XP. She doesn't have a whole hell of a lot left either, though. And I just don't have a lot of firepower. I almost feel like the only way I'm going to succeed in this scenario is to march in and attack instead of using this big move 6. Now, what's the problem with that? Well, I can use the move 6 still and get the victory point for that. Yeah. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't do anything too exciting with that. I got a ranged attack. I don't get any extra targets. I think I'm going to have to ignore the chest again. I don't have... I don't feel like I have enough capacity to make it there and get things. It's like, you know, and I don't want to replay scenarios if I can help it. So not succeeding in this scenario, I don't know what the costs are to failure. I mean, you have to replay it is the biggest cost. But let's see, we'd get the money. We wouldn't get the success victory points. Get the experience money. I don't think we'd get our check marks, and there's people who want them. I just feel like there's more to be gained. That's probably just an item template, an item blueprint that it would be great to be able to buy more better items, but geez, you know, and I wouldn't have completed the scenario, so I won't be able to go on to the next one. So I feel like completing the scenario is of more importance than getting that. Now, if I was trying to make my situation as rich as possible, both in terms of the amount of stuff I explore in the game, but also in terms of increasing my power, grabbing that item chest might be worth more than completing the scenario, because I don't get that big a hit off not completing the scenario. I just have to replay it. But I think I've got a shot at winning the scenario still. So I'm going to go after that. Do I need... yes, I will need to blow the move 6. So 1, 2, 3. I will get a line of sight from that corner to that corner to both units, so I could hit either one if I so desire. But I don't really desire. But I am going to blow the card for the extra XP, I think. Hopefully Cragheart's still here for another round, because could do a long rest and get one of the cards back, or a short rest and get one of the cards back. It's not going to mean a damn thing. There's nobody who can replenish his cards so that he has 2 to play next time. He did a move this time. He could do the short rest, or he could do the long rest. I'll just do the long rest, but just realize he's not going to have any effect, but he might attract some attention, which he could do damage that way and get more XP before he's removed from the board. So there's some reasons for him to stay on the board, basically. We used a fast move. We've got this multi-target attack that we're going to use, I think, because we think we're close to the edge. That should get us faster than anything. He's actually got 2 attacks. So we're just trying to finish this off at this point, because we've given up on that treasure and this coin. This is a lot of money here. Okay, and let's see. We got a shaman who is not... oh, Fuck, I had a reshuffle last time. I gotta do that. Let's see again. We got a shaman. Something complicated here. Move, heal, and bless, but really slow. So if we kill the shaman, that won't take effect. And the archer has a reshuffle and slower than everything else, which means the summoned being goes first. Make it through the round with a success. He gets to come out. Everybody's still alive and well for what that matters. It doesn't matter if you get knocked out as long as the team as a whole successfully completes the mission. So we'll get all the advantages normally. And did we read everything we were supposed to? Probably not. We missed stuff, didn't we? You push your way into the back cave only to be faced with a half dozen crying, screaming Inox children. You have little opportunity to contemplate the implications of this development. However, you find yourself also staring down the bows of several Inox archers. That would have been one. Your only option is to continue fighting. Fine. So we didn't miss anything there. Running through the forest, fleeing the smell of burning flesh, you now find more than enough opportunity to contemplate your actions. How your actions sit with you must be visible on your face as you meet once more with Jexera. This time in her manner, she hands you a sack of coins with a frown. They were thieves and murderers, she says blankly. They deserved what you gave them. And that is all I will say of the matter. I have one more task I would like you to perform. I require a diamond of considerable size for a customer, but I cannot find one anywhere in the city. There is a diamond mine, however, in the southern mountains, long since lost in the wilderness. I've heard reports that it is now overrun with vermlings, no doubt with some other more intelligent force behind them. If you can fight your way in and grab the biggest diamond you can find, I will give you a considerable reward. 9? I assume that's the location that I'm going to be going to. Now leave me in peace. Jexera's 2 massive Inox bodyguards step forward, directing you to leave the manor. Outside, contemplating your new task, you hear a small voice behind you. She's not looking for profit, you know. Okay, so there's more going on here than meets the eye, right? You turn around to see a female quattrille step out. Maybe we shouldn't be reading this. Hey, turn aside if you don't want spoilers. Step out of the alley beside Jexera's house. She's clad in dark leather armor and holds a conspicuous contraption full of whirring gears and topped with a conical metal piece connected to a tube. I bet you this is a quantrill or whatever. Quattrille. Agi, city guard, she says, introducing herself. I don't exactly look the part, but if anyone isn't what they appear to be, it's that Valrath you've been talking to. Sure, she's a merchant, but she's up to something far more sinister. Yeah, I know that. She's been trying to overthrow the military in Gloomhaven for as long as I've been here, and we're all very curious about what her current machinations are. Yeah, so look, you can do her bidding like a good little puppy if you want. But if you rather actually help the town keep the peace and not get overrun in the wilds, I have a different idea. We'll get to the bottom of Jexera's plans and expose her for who she really is. And that gives a different option. So we'll get a party achievement of Jexera's plans. We'll get 15 gold each. We increase the prosperity in addition to whatever other advantages, which I'll summarize once I write them down. But we got like 14 XP here, 7 here, 14 here. We got a lot off this, even if we didn't get that treasure chest. And 8, I believe that's doubled, is $16. So this was not any kind of, disappointment. We were doing really, really well anyway. It's just I really want to get treasures, and I never am getting them. They're just too damn hard. They're hidden in the back area of the cave. And maybe what they're meant for, I don't know if they're meant for the team that does incredibly well. For example, if we had let one more monster spawn, we could get that treasure. But we kind of didn't do that. We said didn't know how many monsters there would be in there. Cut it a little too fine, whatever. But also, and we were doing well enough that we could get it. The other thing that could be the case is maybe you're supposed to go through each adventure once, get the treasure, and then go through again if that's what you really want. I feel like that's cheap, though. I'd rather not try to game the system that way. I want to succeed in these if I can. So I'll be back in a little bit. I load this one up, but I want to go over a couple of the things. Everybody got their check marks. I forgot to mark hers down. But everybody got their check marks. There was always a monster on board. He didn't do any looting, and he only took long rests. We never canceled any of them out. And nobody's getting anything from that. For XP, he's at I don't know, he, she, whatever, is at 48, which means level 2, as is the Spellweaver is at 53. I'll get to level 2. That means each of them is going to get an additional card, which can be up a level 2 card. Since you start with all your 1s and X's, it will be a level 2 card. They also each get a perk, which they'll get to pick. Unfortunately, the Kragheart does not get anything. And Prosperity, I moved my little piece of tape up. I added the new locations. Just showing some of the mechanical aspects of the campaign maintenance. My instinct is to go look in the warehouse. Not because I'm particularly in favor of guards and law and order, and I hope I am not forced into keeping... succeeding in, I hope I'm not forced into a path against this merchant until I find out what's going on. I feel like that, hey, breaking in and there were children there and whatever. What was the problem? Well, they were maybe thieves. Okay. What was I supposed to do? Make an example of them. But there were children there and everything. And I feel... okay, that seems a little odd, but I'm still not entirely opposed. I kind of believe the guards thing, but it's another one of these. But that doesn't mean I'm necessarily in favor of the military rule, which is what it seems to be implying. So let's see what the different options are, because... we're not really convinced one way or the other, even if they're both telling us the truth, which they may be, or both lying, which they may be. Looking at this warehouse might be of interest. Of course, it might end us up on a path that we, can't retreat from, but I always believe in getting as much information as possible before making a choice as to which side I'm on, which, may force me down one path. I hope it doesn't. I really hope it doesn't. Where do we go after this? I wonder if these are meant to be used on these. Kind of looks like they are. They don't really help me in that case. And I may use them for other things. But yeah, I'm probably going to do that. And there's another advantage to that. If I go here, I have to take an outdoor event. Whereas here, I just get my city event that I can take no matter what, and I can buy more items if I so desire. I do have some cash left, 35, 33. I had that's wrong. That's gotta be wrong. God damn it. I didn't add her cash. I don't remember how much she had. Fuck. And I threw it out already. I think she had 2. That's 4 plus the 15 will be 19 added to that. So we're back up to 26, not 16. Okay. Probably not going to buy much, but we'll see. Because some of the better items that might become available are going to cost more. Maybe they become available whether or not I find these chests, and it's just a matter of they can accelerate when I get them. That would be cool. But either side's cool. I mean, I don't mind either way. Anyway, let's load this one up, and I'll come back and do some of the setup stuff on the next video, although... shit, am I losing more light bulbs? These things are supposed to last like 5 years. and I mean, it's not like I leave them on all the time. They're very seldom on. All right.